Hey everybody, just out here on my deck. Nice sunny, well, kind of cloudy morning. It was kind of sunnier before. Everybody's at home, including me, wondering when things are going to get back to normal. So we're all sitting at home, watching the news, looking at our friends' Facebook posts, reading articles, and we're wondering, when is this going to end? When is all this shit going to stop? And we're still locked in our houses 6 weeks later almost. And all of this is based on essentially pretty much all lies. I'm not saying that I'm not saying the coronavirus is completely fake, but if you have a little bit of common sense and you understand that not everything is as it seems, it doesn't take too much of an IQ to figure out that something is not right. And looking at the numbers, like I've said 1,000 times, doesn't make any sense of this amount of lockdown. We're sitting in our homes, people losing their businesses, people losing their livelihoods, people unable to pay their mortgages, etc., etc. And it's all based on lies. And it doesn't matter how many people come on the TV and tell me to stay home and stay safe and try to make me believe this gargantuous lie perpetrated across the world in hundreds of different countries, over 7 billion people on, 7 different continents. I don't care how big they make this seem, it's still bullshit. At the end of the day, a lie is a lie is a lie. I don't care how big they try to make it seem, it's still BS. And they can come out on the news every single day and tell me to stay inside. I'm not gonna do it. My hashtag is don't stay inside. My hashtag is go outside. And they come on the news every single day, scaring the shit out of us, having all these news articles. Now they're creating Facebook, or they're creating apps, so you can track who's got coronavirus and who doesn't have coronavirus, so you stay safe. And then they've got these different, what else do they have? Bracelets to prove that you've been vaccinated, that they want to come out with. And obviously they want to have the digital ID as well. Doesn't make it real. All it proves to me is that there's a huge cover-up, not even a cover-up, a huge fraud in front of the world. And more people are starting to understand that none of this shit is real. More and more people are starting to understand that they've been lied to, misled, and deceived by the biggest names in politics, the biggest names in the medical world, the biggest names in the tech industry, the biggest names in the celebrity world, movie stars telling us to stay home. And some of these people are just useful idiots. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing. They're just going along, either they're getting paid or they're just so stupid that they think this is real, and they think it's their duty to tell everyone to stay safe and stay home. I'm telling you to go outside and do whatever the fuck you want, because this whole thing is so fake, it's ridiculous. The numbers don't make sense, and even if you don't want to believe it, it's still there for you. And the truth will come out, and it's already leaking out there's even the Washington Post showing that the coronavirus is just a big hoax. What does that tell you? Well, if mainstream news articles are coming out and telling you, that means that this story cannot be suppressed for a very long period of time. And this whole thing, this whole corona hoax is an agenda. There's a couple different layers to it. Part of it, I think, is actually to bring down Donald Trump, but that's just the lower part of the agenda. The bigger part of the agenda is to try to get everybody vaccinated, and implemented with a digital ID from our good buddy Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. And now this big flabby marshmallow who wears a pink sweater wants to, it looks like he wants to rule the world with his nonsense bullshit. And the thing is, who elected him as the #1 physician to rule over us and tell us that we all need to get vaccinated in large amounts before things will get back to normal? Who the fuck is this guy to tell me how to live my life? Some guy who lives like 2.5 hours south of me in Seattle, Washington. I think he lives in Bellevue, which is a suburb of Seattle, is telling the whole world that we all need to get vaccinated before we can get back to living our life. Like, what? And the thing is, obviously the mainstream media is letting this guy speak his mind because, of course, they're all in cahoots with the same shit show. They're all connected to the same people. They're all pushing the same agenda. Some people are willing puppets. Some people are paid off. Some people know the full agenda. And some people really just don't give a shit. And there's other people who are just complete idiots, and they would just, if you tell them to jump, they'll say how high. They'll ask how high. So there's so many different players in this game, and that's why it's hard for a lot of people to understand that this is one of the biggest frauds, biggest scams in world history. For sure, it's one of the biggest scams in the medical world, hands down worldwide, to ever face our species. This is the biggest fraud ever in medical history, for sure. So the end agenda here obviously is to get everyone chipped, either through a microchip or something that they call smart dust, also known as nanotechnology, which is basically small little particles that are able to send and give information through the internet. So what they're going to do is give us a digital ID. Basically, when you get injected with the coronavirus or the corona vaccine that's being pushed by Bill Gates, in that vaccine there will be nanoparticles, aka smart dust, that you can't see. It's invisible to the eye, and these nanoparticles will be, like I said, will be able to send and receive information. So they will be able to scan you, or you'll have to walk through some kind of scanning system or whatever, and they'll be able to know that you've been vaccinated. They'll know your location, and they also have the technology to basically have all your information in there. So the end goal here is to not have any driver's license, no types of credit cards, no types of passports or anything. Everything will be included either in the nanochip technology, or either in the nanotechnology, or in a digital RFID chip, radio frequency identification chip, that will be inside your body. And if you're thinking I'm crazy, which most of you guys probably are not thinking that, because I'm posting this in the no more lockdowns group, you guys understand, and you probably have a general idea or a detailed idea that this is coming down the pipeline. And I knew about this stuff way back in 1999. 21 years ago, I knew that they were talking about, we would all have to get the chip, the mark of the beast. And this is 21 years ago, when I was a young man in my, late 20s, I guess. So, here we are, and we're basically weeks, not even months away anymore, I don't think. There's definitely not going to be years, because all this technology is available. It's just a matter of if people stand up and resist it. If they don't, this stuff will come down the pipeline within months or weeks for sure. It doesn't take much, because the technology is available. Even though Bill Gates is telling us that they're working on a vaccine, Justin Trudeau is telling us they're working on a vaccine. It should be available within 12 to 18 months. Do not believe their bullshit. This vaccine is probably available already. This is a well-orchestrated, created plan. They have everything in place, but they have to make it seem like it's coming down the pipeline. They're working very hard to find this vaccine to stop the coronavirus. And we all have to remember, this coronavirus is in fact a form of the flu. So if you know anything about the flu, they always want us to get our flu shots every single year. And what happens every single year that people go try to get their flu shots, the actual probability of that vaccine helping you in stopping or softening the blow of the flu is minimal because, of course, there's so many different strains to the flu that your chance of actually being vaccinated against that strain of the flu is very minimal. So now they're trying to push this flu vaccine, the coronavirus, like I said, is a flu. So they're trying to push the coronavirus flu vaccine onto us. So even if you don't believe that there's some kind of nanochip technology, even if you don't believe they're going to track us and all this kind of stuff, do you think you're going to be protected against the coronavirus flu when common sense and history and facts from this year have shown us that the percentage of being protected from the flu from the vaccine they've created that in every single year has been like 30% or less. So why the fuck would anyone get this coronavirus vaccine based on even their mainstream statistics and data? It doesn't make any sense. And I was looking, I think it was a couple days ago, Global News had a poll on Facebook. They had an article, and they also had a poll attached to it. And in the top of the article said 60% of Canadians support mandatory vaccination. But then what they did, these fucking idiot puppet pieces of shit, globalist elites, and well, basically it's the puppets that work for them. The people at Global News, the fake journalists that I call repeaters, took that little phrase from David Icke. They had a live poll on the actual vaccine article, and you could actually answer it. And in the poll, it stated, "Do you support mandatory vaccination for coronavirus?" And the poll was complete opposite. I posted that a couple times. So basically what it was then is 67% of the people did not want mandatory vaccination, with only, 26% or something like that, or 30, I'd have to do the math, but 67% did not want mandatory vaccination. But the title of that article read that 60% wanted mandatory vaccination, which was bullshit, and the truth came out as soon as they put the poll stating that 67% of Canadians do not want mandatory vaccination. So that's almost that's over 2/3 of the population. So 2 out of 3 people do not want mandatory vaccination according to their own poll. So to me, that's fantastic news. And I hope that most people in this country, even if you don't believe in everything I say, I'm sure you have more than enough common sense to understand that getting a vaccine for a strain of the flu that changes every single year is beyond ridiculous. Why would you inject something into your body that you don't even know? First, you don't even know what's in it. Secondly, Bill Gates is promoting this vaccine, a guy who created a software program called Windows that had more viruses than anyone could ever imagine. It was a nightmare, and you'd always have to download patches to your Windows because, of course, there was hackers were always finding ways, and there were ways into the software program, and they were creating viruses to infiltrate Windows. So a guy who creates a shitty software program now is the head of promoting vaccines to stop us from a virus. That I find hilarious, and I'm gonna have to create a meme on that. There probably are some other ones out there, but just the fact that this jackass thinks he's gonna actually push vaccines onto the general population, to me is hilarious. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I don't think I have too much more to say. I guess we're gonna be having that march. The march on Sunday, May the 3rd. It's gonna start. There's going to be a kind of it's going to start at 1 p.m., but the overall march, the actual walk, will start at 2 p.m. So if you want to get down there early, you can come at 1. If not, come at 2. But join us. It's time for your voice to be heard. This is a peaceful protest. No violence. There's no reason for violence. We're strictly marching for economic conditions. This is an economic movement. All we want the government to do is open up the economy and get people back to work, get people back to school, get people back to doing whatever the fuck it is they want to do. They shouldn't be mandating any kind of lockdowns. I'm pretty sure it's illegal what they've done, and some people are in the process of suing the people who who actually signed those emergency documents that put us into a state of emergency. So stay tuned for that, and come down to the march. It's important. I'm not the kind of person who likes to go to marches. I'm not one of those guys who jumps at every opportunity to be out in the streets yelling and walking around with a banner and screaming and this and that. But you know what? You got to take a stand in your life. Eventually, there's a line in the sand. And this is my line in the sand. This is a time that you should be standing up. If you're in our group, No More Lockdowns, if you're in Vancouver, if you don't have other commitments that are important, this should be your number one priority. We need to have numbers out there. We started off with like probably 10 people, then it was 20, then it was like 30. And then the last march had over 100. I think the number was 120. So that's like awesome. To me, that's great. But we need those numbers to continuously rise exponentially. We need to get the numbers out there, because it's not just about protesting. It's about the cameras getting out there, because the more people that see it on the news, the more people that will support us. There's a lot of people on the sidelines. There's a lot of people that want to come out. A lot of people don't know about this. So we need the free publicity of global news, CTV News, CBC News. Even if they paint us in a negative light, a lot of people at this point can see through it. So as long as we get our march on television, it's going to help our cause a lot. And we need the numbers out there. We need the people walking, hundreds of them, thousands of them, so people start seeing, holy shit, there is a lot of people who don't want this lockdown to continue. I'm not the only one that feels that way. A lot of people think that they're the only ones that feel this way. They're scared to speak up, and they're scared to post on Facebook. They're scared to be out on the streets and marching. We have to be out there for those people, because there's so many people who are scared to do the right thing, because we've all been pushed into submission for such a long period of time. Let me tell you, I was one of those people, but once this whole coronavirus thing came to the forefront, I had it. I knew all about the other stuff in the background, the vaccinations, the corruption. I've been researching this stuff for years and years and years, but there's got to be a line in the sand. There's got to be something that sparks you to say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm sick of all of this shit. And this is the catalyst that gets me out of my chair. This is the catalyst that gets me off the couch. This is the catalyst that gets me out of my house and onto the streets, marching peacefully, telling the world how I feel. And if you're at that point, please join us for a march. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this every single Sunday until this shitstorm ends, because enough is enough. These people in power have been controlling us for thousands of years. Obviously not these specific people, but when I'm talking about the people in power, I'm talking about the elites. But they've been controlling us for so long, and we've been brainwashed. All of us have been growing up in the society, this hierarchical society, and that we think we have to listen to the people in power, that they know better than we do, and this and that. If you have a little bit of common sense, if you know how to tie your shoelaces, if you know how to add 2 + 2 = 4, guess what? You know more than most people in power. You know more than any politicians, and you've got to come out and support us. You have to come out and support yourself. You have to come out and support your family and your children, because if you're a parent, you have to make a stand now, because you have to understand this whole agenda is not stopping here. They've been pushing this thing. This whole agenda is to get everyone on planet Earth vaccinated and tracked, so they can control us. And eventually, what they want to do is control us. We're gonna have the nanochip technology in our bodies, not just to track us, but also they're gonna have all our personal information, our financial information. We're not going to have any credit cards. We're not going to have any cash. It's going to be a cashless society. And I'm sure a lot of people can understand that cashless society is now part of the agenda. Because when I woke up years ago in 1999, I was informed about this. That, eventually there will be a time in the future where cash will be made to seem bad, dirty, and they'll promote it for a bunch of different reasons. But in this particular part of our life, they're promoting a cashless society to help us stay safe, because cash is dirty. Hey, you can have the COVID-19 virus on cash. So guess what? Sorry. We can't accept your cash at any coffee shops. We can't accept your cash anywhere because it could be the COVID-19 on it, and we don't want to get the virus, so we have to stop accepting cash. Guess what? When when the COVID virus shitstorm ends, do you think they're going to introduce cash again? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But at the end of the day, the big plan here is to have those digital IDs with all the information in it, including your financial information. So you're going to be paying with not with cash, but with your chip. And what happens then is if we try to have a protest or a march like this, when everything is cashless and we have these digital IDs that have been vaccinated into us, guess what? They can easily turn off our chip and say, you know what, you've been a bad little boy. You're going to have a 24-hour period where you can't purchase anything. Kind of the way Facebook, they put me in Facebook jail yesterday. They censored me, and I wasn't able to log into Facebook yesterday for 24 hours. I was just granted access to Facebook in the last maybe hour and a half. They can do the same thing with this technology. And this hasn't come out yet, so maybe you're not understanding it, but you can kind of see where it's going, and it will definitely go down that way. It'll be full control. So back to what I was saying. We have to do this not just because of the bullshit coronavirus, not just because we want our economy open, but because of future issues that are coming down the pipeline that most people are not aware of. We need to stop this before it gets too crazy. And honestly, it's already gone way past crazy at this point. Everything is upside down, clown world in my opinion. Nothing makes sense. People who should be fighting for our rights are doing the exact opposite. People who should be speaking up about what's really going on in the hospitals, nurses and doctors, are doing the exact opposite. Some people are speaking up, some doctors, but very few compared to the doctors who are complacent, who are quiet about what's going on. You guys, all you fucking idiots in power, or you think you guys are better than everybody else, you think you know more than us, guess what? You're going to be living in the same shit world that we're going to be living in if you shut your fucking mouth. So keep your mouth shut, and guess what? All of our children are going to be living in a police state. They're going to be living on a prison planet. It's either now or never. So get off your asses, get out on the streets. Stop being little wimps. I'm not expecting anyone to do violence. I'm not expecting anyone to join the army and fight for your country. All you have to do is put up videos like this. And if you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. All you do then is put up a post. Share some information. Have a little bit of balls, you little wimps. Little wimps. Can't even share information. Scared of what your friends will think. Scared of what your family will think. What the hell are all you guys going to think 10 years from now, or maybe even a year from now, maybe even 6 months from now, and you're wondering, holy shit, all those conspiracy theorists were actually right about what they were talking about. The time is now, guys. The time is now to speak up. Do it for yourself and do it for your kids. Do it for your family. Do it for the world. This is the time to unite, and they've used the technique of dividing and conquering us for thousands of years. So we fight against each other. Meanwhile, these people in power are laughing and constantly, they're just pissing themselves over how stupid and idiotic we are fighting with each other over race, over gender or non-gender, over sex, over sexual preference, over finance, over status. All this shit doesn't even matter at all. At the end of the day, we're all people. If we were all stuck in some jungle with no clothes on, and no money, and no cars, and no degrees, or nothing, do you think any of your status or your gender or who you like and who you don't like and how much money you have would matter? Nothing would matter. You know what matters at the end of the day is your integrity. You know what matters at the end of the day is what you stand for. That's what matters. That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Once we all die, people will remember what we stood for and what we did in this life, not the assets that we've accumulated, not our genders, not our sexual preferences or any of that shit. At the end of the day, it's all about you and what you did to benefit this world. So it's time for you to stand up shoulder to shoulder with me and everybody else that's coming to the march. I want to see at least 300 people. At least it has to double, if more, 400, 500. It is time. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. And it's going to be peaceful, even though some people say they're going to come out there and cause a ruckus. That's not going to work out too well. No violence intended, but that's not going to work out too well. We're going to be sitting there. There's people who are going to be standing outside of the crowds, filming everything outside of the crowds, warning the police of any provocateurs or any people that look suspicious. So if you think you're going to be coming there trying to start shit, think again. We're going to have people, there's going to be different layers of the protest. That's what you don't understand. We're going to be protesting. Then if there is provocateurs, behind the provocateurs there's police. Behind the police there's going to be other people who look like folks just watching. But guess what? They're going to be filming everything. They're going to be reporting to the police. If they see something suspicious, they're going to call the closest policeman and they're going to come and arrest your ass. So don't come out there thinking you're going to try to stop a march that's actually benefiting you. This is not about hate at all. Are you ridiculous? Are you retarded? Are you stupid? This is all about helping everybody on planet Earth. We don't care if you're gay, we don't care if you're straight, single, whatever. We don't give a shit about what the hell you stand for. All we want is freedom to do what we want. All we want is an open economy. Don't you want that? Don't you want your job back? Don't you want to be able to go to a coffee shop and have a fucking coffee, for God's sakes? We already have enough trouble with the government's locking us down. You jackasses want to come out there and make it even doubly hard, just much more difficult, while we're there fighting for your rights. Unbelievable. I can't even believe that these people think that they have this is a supposedly anti-hate group. Once again, we're in clown world, so everything is backwards. Anti-hate group is going to come out there and cause trouble, and they're going to basically be hating on us. Ridiculous. That's all I'm going to say today, guys. Get out there. Sunday, May 3rd. It's only a couple days. Science World. 1 p.m. is when we start hanging out. 2 p.m. is the actual march. Spread this video, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody, share it on Twitter, share it all over Facebook, wherever, and help me get the word out, because this is a huge issue and we need your support. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, no violence. We're here for one reason, that's to help humanity, not to bring other people down. We are not a hate group at all. Not a hate group at all. Peaceful protest, peaceful march, no violence, no hate groups, no anti-hate groups there. Just come as an individual, stand up for your rights financially and for freedom. Nothing about hate, nothing about bigotry, nothing about violence. Let's go, let's make it happen. Thank you.